and welcome to Page Editor for your school's website. I am your host, Ryan Clancy. I'm the Client Success Manager here at EdgeNet, and I'm looking forward to having you join us today for this all-new webinar. This webinar, we're going to go in and take an in-depth look at the Page Editor and the many great uses that it offers. The Page Editor, and along with that, of course, sections, is one of the most versatile parts of your school's website. We do have a little bit of a game plan for our training session. So what we're going to start with here is we're going to have a chance to take a look at some great examples. We're going to see how the page editor can be used for department pages, such as the science department. One thing else that's great about it is it's also wonderful to use, for example, for uniform pages, for supply list pages. The types of uses for sections on your website is really endless. There's lots of great things that you're going to be able to do with that. So it'd be cool to have a chance to see some of the possibilities that are available to you for the page editor. Then I'm going to show you just how quickly and seamlessly you can go in and use this, how you can be signed in on your site. You can go to a page that was created with the editor, and how right away you're going to be able to go in and you will be able to edit that content. We're then going to see how to start a new section from scratch, and we're going to see then the many features that we have available to us here. We'll also see how you can duplicate pages. That way you can go in and you can work on the new version of your page and still keep the old one active until you have the new one ready to go as well. From there, we'll wrap up our training session. Remember, with that in mind, that questions are encouraged throughout. So remember to go in to ask questions. What you'll want to do is you want to click on the bubble icon, the little chat icon on your GoToTraining toolbar, and I'll be happy to go ahead and to help with those questions. All right, everyone. With that, let's go ahead, let's get started. So as I mentioned, everybody, sections, in turn, the page editor can really serve a variety of different uses. So at its simplest, a section that's created with the page editor could be something like this page here, the mission statement. Now, we're going to go back to this page and add more to it, so we'll have a chance to see how we can really make this page all its own. On the other hand, though, this can be a multi-page section, which can be like a mini website in of itself. So an example of this, going over here to, we'll say, for example, the music department page. This is a perfect example. So this is a page that was specifically created to serve the needs of the music department. And we get to see how the page editor works in harmony with other features that are offered by your section. So an example of this, we see how we have the calendar. So it looks like the music director has gone ahead, added in the events for the fall term, which is great. And then also gone in and really created quite an elaborate page here. So looking at this here, we see that this mentions the programs that are offered by Green Tech's music department. We also see how you can go in. We have some neat ways to add documents on here as well. Now, our science department has also created some really neat pages as well. So let's take a closer look at this, everyone. So we're going to go over here to students, go to sciences. So this is quite an elaborate page here and really shows what you're going to be able to do with a department page such as this with the page editor. So one thing we see is we see multiple content blocks that have been created for this area here. So we see how we have content blocks that feature photos. What's really cool here as well is we see that the science department has gone in and used the tables feature. They've used this to list the courses that are offered here and provide which term they're going to be offered, which semester they're going to be offered. And we see that the staff that built this page has also gone ahead and made great use of photos as well. Now, going ahead and taking a look at our athletics department page, as we can see, this is also quite an elaborate page here. We have two tables. We have contact information. Just like the science department is using tables for schedule, the athletics department's doing that as well. So all these here, everything we see here, these are individual content blocks. So it really shows the versatility that is going to be offered to your school with the page editor. And we see that too. We have a page here that introduces the coach. This is a content block here. It features both text and photos. And ultimately, these content blocks are going to really allow you to really individualize every single page on your site and really make it all its own. And the great thing is as well, is that with your site, it's very flexible with the access that you can grant your staff to be able to edit different areas of the site. So you can give your staff access to edit specific sections, such as the athletics section, the science department, the music department, even the mission statement page as well, the section for the music department, I should say, or for the mission statement. So it really shows the versatility that the page editor and in turn sections are going to offer us. Now, one of the things that's really cool about the page editor is just how quickly you can get something edited. So I'm going to go ahead, sign in. Now, remember when we're signing into the new version of our software, that's what's going to allow us to use that page editor. You're going to use your keyboard. If you're using a PC, you want to double click Control, whereas if you're using a Mac, what you'll want to do instead is you'll want to go in and double click Command. So I sign in. Now, what lets us know that we're signed in is that we're going to have this toolbar here right at the bottom of the screen. Now, let's say I want to add a photo to that mission statement page. Now, because we're signed in, all I have to do is I go over to mission statement. I actually navigate to the page the same way that our parents and students would. And I'm able to go in. I'm able to start making some changes here. So we, of course, see how we can go in and we can edit the text on this page. But we can also add more to this as well. So let's take a closer look here, everybody. So I'm going to say I want to add a photo. Now, anytime that I want to go in and add a photo or another type of content blocks, these first steps, they're always pretty much the same. What we go in and do is we right-click, we select either insert above or insert below. So in this case, I'm going to go in and I'm going to select insert above. I click on the content block I want to have, and we see we have all these options here, everyone. So in this case, what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to select photo in the center. Now we've added the content block. So now it's ready for us to go in and to add our own content. And we have a really cool way that you can go about doing this. So be just a moment. Check this out here, everybody. So I'm going to pull up my photos here. All right, everybody, be just a moment here. There they are. Check out this really cool way that you can go in and actually add photos to a page. So, we've already gone in and added our content block, but we definitely want to add on our very own photo. So I do this. I find the photo I want to use. So in this case here, we'll go with this. And all I need to do is I just go in and I click, drag, and drop. Just like that there. Perfect. Now, once I've gone in and added this on here, I could still make some changes. So one thing I may notice is that the padding between the photo and the text, it's really not the best, but that's okay. We can go in and fix this here. All we do is we take our mouse, we bring it towards the top of the content block, and we can go in and bring this down by up to 20 pixels. Now, to do this here, to go in and to reorder the page, because what sometimes may happen is we go in and create a page like this, and we may notice that we would prefer to have the photo underneath the text. Cool thing is you don't have to copy anything and you don't have to delete anything either. All you got to do is this. Check this out. You go in, you bring your mouse to either of the content blocks. So in this case, let's go ahead and go to the text. We right click and we simply go in and select move up. So that does allow us to be able to easily rearrange the different content blocks on the pages as well. All right, everyone. So, with that, it's time for us to go in and to be able to create a new section here from scratch. So, Green Tech High is in need of a brand new About Us section. So, let's go ahead and create that for them. So, what I do, whoops, and I almost forgot something. You always want to make sure you click save. What you want to do to start a new section, and just for clarification, what sections and pages are on your site. Sections are essentially what you and I think of web pages. That's what they are on our system here on our CMS. So that's just something they're important to know. Now, anytime we're going in and we are creating a brand new section from scratch, we'll always go in and we'll start this off here just by heading over to the menu button. And then from here, going over to sections. Now, you can add this to any of these sections here with the exception of maintenance, of course. And these all, for the most part, do these same exact things. The difference with things such as academic departments or educational supports, those can have its own directory on the site. Most of the time, when you add a new section, you will add this under extra sections. It is important to note that you can also use this menu so you can access existing sections so you can edit them. So in this case, I'm going to add our new About Us section under Extra Sections. So I click Extra Sections. To start this off here, I go in and click Add Section. And we go in and enter our title. So we'll type in About Green Tech. And I click Save. Perfect. From this screen here, we can use this Edit This Section button to get to where we need to be to start working on this. I'm going to show you a shortcut, though. I found it's easiest just to go over here to the menu button, go to Sections, you go back to the category you added the new section to, so in this case, Extra Sections, and then we find our new section here. All right, we are exactly where we want to be. Now, it's important to note with sections and pages, there is a little bit of a hierarchy. At the top, you have the section itself, but underneath that, you can absolutely go in and have multiple pages. And that includes things such as calendars. You can have a photo album as well. It looks like we have our first question here, everyone. And I have a great question here from Amanda. Amanda asks, are we able to download this? I have a coworker that couldn't attend. It's a great question. Definitely. So what's happening right now is this training session is being recorded. Once it's ready to go, I will go in and send this out to everyone who had registered for our training session. It's an excellent question, Amanda. Thank you for asking that. Definitely, I'll be happy to go in and send this out to everyone. So we're exactly where we need to be. So I mentioned there's a hierarchy with sections and pages, sections at the top, pages underneath that. At the same time, though, it's important to note that without pages, a section like this, it's really just an empty shell. So we have to have pages on it so we can have content. And that includes pages created with the page editor. So what I do is I go in here, I click Add Page, and we'll see we have all of these wonderful options that are available to us here. So we see how we can have a calendar, how we can go in, we can add a photo album, video, and audio and everything. So lots of great options here for us. Now, in this case, I definitely want to go in and create a page using the editor. And it's important to note the page editor, that's actually always going to be your default option. So it's the option here that says Other. And we just need to go in and title this. So in this case, I could title this Home. I think I'm going to go with About Us. I click Create Page. And right away, everyone, just like that, we're brought into the page editor. Now, one thing that you'll notice if you take your mouse and you bring it towards the top of the page, you will have a content block here that's going to be ready for you to go in, and it's going to be ready for you to use. Now, that being said, of course, you don't have to use this specific block. In this case, though, we'll go ahead and we'll start with this here. Now, in this case, I have already written the About Us page out. So what I want to go in and do is I am going to pull up our welcome statement. So we're ready to go in and to paste this in. Now, something that you'll notice when you do go to paste your content into the page editor, sometimes when you right click, you'll notice there isn't an option to copy or paste. That's okay. You can still definitely do both. What you're going to want to do is if you're using a PC, you want to go in and click Control V on your keyboard. Whereas if you're using a Mac, what you'll want to do instead is you'll want to go in and click Command V. So I do this, and we can see now that we've successfully added our content on here. Now, along with this here, if we go in and I'm just going to change this here. This is a word I always have a hard time spelling. So just type in airplane technology. Now, with that being said, you have a variety of formatting options available to you. And we'll see those if we highlight over our text. And we're going to have a chance to see quite a few of these today. We have, for example, where we can go in, we have a selection of fonts here. We also have a selection of ADA compliant colors. And this is something we're going to see here in just a minute. We do have a neat way for you to go in and add files on here. But along with that, we have an easy way for us to go in and to make a page like this more accessible. And we can do that by going in and adding on headings. So let's take a look at this here, everybody. Now, the reason that headings make a page like this more accessible is that they give the page structure. And that's going to be something that is going to make it easier for people who are using screen reading programs. It allows the programs to make it easier for them to go in and to navigate that. So let's add on our first heading here, everyone. So we could type in something such as, welcome to Green Tech Eye. So this is kind of the heading for our introductory content. Now, when we're setting up headings, as a general rule, we want to go in and we want to go in order. It's not a rule by any means that's absolute, but in most cases we will. So in this case here, what I want to go ahead and do, this is going to be our first, we'll set this here as the first heading on the page. So I'll click on this, go to the drop-down menu, and in this case, I go in and set this here as heading 1. Now, remember, this changes the appearance of the text, of course, and most importantly, now this is coded as a heading. Now, with that being said, we have some fonts we can change this to. So let's find one here. Let's change it up here a little bit, and let's set this. We'll say we want to set this here to Veranda. Perfect. And you know what? This is the welcome message. So why don't we go in and change this to the colors of the school here? Perfect. So with this here, hi, Kim. I appreciate you letting me know that. You're mentioning that the screen share here is delayed. Let me go ahead. I'm going to update a setting here. I appreciate you letting me know. That can hopefully help us with that. Thank you for letting me know. All right, so let's go in. There we are. So we're going to optimize this for video. Perfect. All right. So that should hopefully help that there with that. I appreciate you letting me know, Kim. All right, so we've gone in and we've added on our very first heading here. Now let's say we want to share on the screen the student expectations. So we want to add that on in a document. So what I can do with this here, I want to add some documents on. So in this case, I want to first add on another heading for this. So in this case, we'll type something in such as important documents. Hi, Kim. I apologize for that. For the welcome message, so that's we went in and just add this up over here. But I do appreciate you letting me know about the screen delay. for that. So that's something I'll keep in mind. And one of the things, let's see, I just want to make sure everything's set to go. And Kim, just feel free to let me know if you have any questions, okay? And one thing we're doing to help with this as well is we are going in and we're recording this. So this will definitely be something that we'll be sending out too for that. But during this year, just feel free to let me know if you have any questions and I'll be happy to help. So we have our next heading here, everyone. So as I mentioned, as a general rule, you want to go in order with the headings, not something by any means that's absolute. And in this case, though, this is not a time that we would kind of make it an exception with that. We'll still go in order. So this is heading 1. We'll then set this one here as heading 2. And in this case, just to make sure it matches our first heading, we'll go in and there we go. Perfect. Now with this, we have a really cool way that we can go in and we can add documents on here. And I'm actually just going to switch this back to this just before we do that. So it shows we can always go in and make changes. So we have a really neat way here, everyone, that we can go in and we can add documents to this page. So with this here, I start this off simply by going in and typing in the title of the document. So in this case, what I'll do is I'll type in student expectations. Now, ultimately, what my goal with this document here is, I want to go in and link the document to this text. That way, when parents and students, they click on this, it opens the file up for them. Got a really cool way we can do this. Be just a moment. I'm just going to pull up that file so we have that ready to go. Let's see here. There it is. And what I'm going to do here, to link this document to this text, I simply go in, I highlight over it, click the link icon, and then I can go in here and I switch this over to document. So I find the document I want to use and I see it right here. And we simply go in, we click, drag, and drop. So what happens now when parents and students click on this, that is going to open that file up for them. Now, as always, when we go in and we add documents, we add links, we want to make sure that we test these. So with the page editor, definitely something we can do. Now, right now, if I try to go in and I try to click on this, I'll notice that nothing happens. That's okay. That is by design. What I need to do is I need to switch from edit mode to live mode, essentially. And you have a button here that's going to help you with that. As always with this, you just want to make sure to click save. And what we want to do next here is we click on the feather. We click on student expectations, and we can see that the file has loaded successfully here. And that's exactly what parents and students are going to see as well. Now, one of the ways that we can really make a page like this all our own is by going in and adding some photos here. So let's definitely do that. For this here, the same steps that we followed earlier, we're going to follow here. So we'll start this off here, everybody, by just going in. We right-click. We choose either insert above or below. So in this case, we'll stick with insert below. We find the block that we want to go in and use. So in this case, I go in and I select photo in the center. So just as with before. And what I need to do right now is I'll just go in, I'll find the photo that we want to go in and we want to use with this. And to do this here, there we are. I just want to pull this up here. There we go. And the same thing, we go in, we find the photo that we want to use. And in this case, we'll go with this one here. And we're just going to go in, we click, drag and drop. And then what we would need to do with this is we just go in and resize this here. Perfect. We just check the padding so we can see, it doesn't really matter here because there is some spacing between the text and this, but just for the purposes of the training, we'll go ahead and move this block down. And we do this just by taking our mouse, we bring it to the top of the content block. It is always the lower content block, and you can bring this down by up to 20 pixels. Perfect. All right, looks like we have some questions coming in, which is awesome. That's a great question. With this here, I apologize. I'm not too sure why those aren't coming up. The content blocks, when you access them, they'll look like this here. So if I just go to either of the blocks, I choose Insert Above or Below, and with that, you should see some of the content blocks here. Let me know if you're not seeing those, and I'll just double check my settings for that. And we have a great question here from Tanika. Thank you, Tanika. Tanika asks, this is a section question. When I create a new section, I'm not sure how to put it in a visible location from the homepage. How do I place it in a relevant and findable location? Definitely something we can take a look at. So we'll come back to this right here. Let's see how we can go in and link a page over onto the navigation menu. So it is important to note when you do go in and you create a brand new section, it's not something that's going to happen automatically in terms of linking it onto the homepage. So it all really depends on where you want this to go. One option here is to add it to the navigation menu. And that is absolutely something that you're able to do through your admin, through your CMS. So with this here, what we want to do, so we'll say that we want to add this new About Us page just above the student expectations document here. Step number one, we go over to the menu button. But where we're going to go now is we're going to go to Website Admin. And then from here, we're going to head over to the navigation menu. I locate where I want to add this to. So in this case, it's actually right at the top. My next step from here is I go to the closest, essentially the closest link that's already on there, and I click on the arrow that's going to be towards the right side of the window. So we go in, we click on this, and just depending on where we want to go, we choose either Add Link Above or Below. So in this case, we're going to go in and choose Add Link Above. Now, you'll notice here that you have these fields. To be perfectly honest with you, it's going to be very rare that you'll ever need to fill these out. Really only if you're linking a document to the navigation menu, or you're going in and you're adding a link to an outside website. Because you have this really neat find page function here. This actually, with the exception of documents, so this is really just for pages and modules, of course, this actually has your entire website mapped out. So I can go in, I click on this, and to start with, what I see is where I can go to link modules. Things such as forms, stores, news. Now, sections and pages, they're here, they're just a little bit hidden. What we want to do is we go in, click departments, and this will take just a moment to load here. I see it right there. And what I do is I find my new section here. So we see About Green Tech High. What's cool here is that it goes in and it fills out the fields for us. So what we do with this, everyone, is we click Save. And it's important with this to go in and to test our change. We can test the change by going in and clicking on the link. We're going to go over to the About Us tab. We make sure that this goes exactly where we want it to go, which it does. And then all we need to do at that point is we just click Apply. I refresh the screen, and we see that we've gone in, we've added our new section to the navigation menu. Now, this is definitely something that can be added to a secondary navigation menu. So something that comes to mind is we have the lower navigation that's under the rotating images. It can be added there, or if you have side navigation menu buttons. For that, what you want to do is you'll want to go in and send in a ticket to our tech support team, and we'd be happy to go in and to help you out with that there. All right, Tanika, that's an excellent question. You're welcome. Thank you for sending that in, and please feel free to send in any more questions you have, everybody, and I will be happy to help. So going over here back to About Green Tech High, we've added a photo, right? Now, there's another tool here that can be very, very helpful to us. It's an interesting looking tool. It's this one here. It kind of looks like an emoji. So what's great about this is that this will actually provide you with recommendations for your page. That's pretty cool. So you go in, you click on this, and this is an excellent suggestion. It's being suggested to us that we go in and we add alt text to improve the accessibility of this particular photo that we're going in and that we are seeing here. So definitely something we want to do. Here's the cool thing. You don't need to code anything for this. All you do, you just right click on the photo, select accessibility, and we can type in our students. You want to describe what's going on in the photo with this? And I click apply. Now, why is this so important to do? It all has to do with how screen reading programs work. So what happens is if we do not have alternative text on a photo like this, what a screen reader will do is actually read out the file name. And it's important to note that the file name does not necessarily always match the photo itself, what's going on in the photo. So that's important to know. And it allows us to be able to provide information about the image to our users who are visiting with screen readers. And we see that this particular photo, that the file name does not match the photo. So this would be definitely a case where this would be important. Also, too, there's going to be some cases where the photo, and I would say that this photo is not the case for that, but there will be cases where the photo is really not part of the main content area. So with that, the other option in that case there would be just to go in and to mark the image as decorative. And when you do that, you're essentially telling the screen reading programs to skip over the photo for that. So we've created, everybody, a pretty cool new page here with the page editor. So let's say that we wanted to add on a second page here. One that we can go in and we can provide information about the courses, the programs, or the academic tracks that Green Tech High offers. Let's take a look at this here, everyone. Definitely in case we're going to be using a different content block. So to do this here, to go in and to add this on, what you're going to do, you just want to, I always recommend just clicking save before you go in and do this here. Anytime that you're going to go in and you're going to add a second or a subsequent page, you're always going to go in and start this off by going over to the blue arrow. We click on this, we go over here to this section, and then from here, we go in and we click new page. And we can choose from those same wonderful options, everybody, that we had a chance to go in and we had a chance to see earlier. Now, in this case, I want to continue using the page editor. So we could type something in such as programs offered. Just as with before, once I go in and I click create page, we're going to be brought right into our new page here. Let's go in and let's get started on that brand new table. To do this here, everyone, all I do is I right click, I choose either insert above or below. So in this case, I'll go in and choose insert above. And we find the content block that we want to go in and use. So I click on this, we see our table, we click on that, and it drops right onto the page itself. Now, before I do anything else, I'm going to go in and remove our old content block. You can only do that once you have another content block to replace it, essentially. Perfect. So we have our table. Now, it needs some work, so we need to go in and add some content here. So let's start, everyone, with the title here. So we'll title this here as Programs Offered. Perfect. Now, I really only need these two columns here. So we need to go in and we need to reorganize this a little bit. Cool thing is easy to do. All we do is we just go in, we go to either the columns or whenever you need to delete a row as an example, and you just right click. So in this case, we go to column 5 and we select delete column. We can do the same here for column 4. We right click and we select delete column. Just a moment and we'll have this exactly as we want this to be. So be just a moment. I'm just going to go in and pull up the information I need to add. So we're going to type in tracks. And I know I'm going to need to expand this out, so we'll go in and do that right now. So we'll start with this. We'll type in nursing. Perfect. And then we can go in, and I'm just going to copy this. And the same thing, we'll want to go in and click. Remember, when we're pasting this in, we may need to click either Control V when we're using a PC or Command V when we're going in, we're using a Mac. So I go in, click Command V. We can see we definitely need to expand this out, so we'll definitely do that. So we'll do this here. We'll type in description. Perfect. Let's do the same here for college prep. So same thing, we're just going to go in and actually type that in. And what I do with this is I go in, I copy this, paste that in. And depending on whether or not we want to adjust this, we don't have to, we can. I like to do that just to kind of keep everything on a single line with that. We'll just do this for digital media and culinary arts real quickly as well. All right, just one more here, and then this looks set to go. There might be some changes we may want to make to it, though, of course. Perfect. Now, this is all set to go, so I'm just going to remove this last row that we have here as well. So remember, we remove rows and columns by right-clicking in the row or in the column. And then when we do this, we just go in this case, we select delete row. Perfect. So green text about us page is really coming along really, really well. We've already gone in and we've added a lot of content. So let's go ahead and say it's 6 months from now, and we want to go in and make some changes to this. Specifically, we want to make changes here to programs offered. So one of the things that's really cool about the page editor, so it's important to know this is just for pages that are created with the page editor. You have a really, really neat duplicate option here. So let's go ahead and do that here. So here's the benefit of using duplicate. What this is going to allow you to do is it's going to allow you to be able to continue going in and working on an existing page. So it's going to allow you to be able to make changes to it. And what's great is it keeps the existing page live. So what I do with this, I start this off just by clicking the duplicate button here. Then we just go in and click OK. Now, we have 2 versions of the page here. We have version 2, and then what we have is we have version 1. And you're able to switch between the 2 just by going in and clicking on where it says version. So we see version 1 still live, but we can go in now and we can work on version 2 without affecting version 1. So what our website visitors are going in and seeing. So with this here, let's say that we wanted to add some more information. Maybe we wanted to go in and we wanted to introduce some members of our team. So we've described the programs being offered. Maybe we want to introduce, for example, the science director. What I do in this case here is I right click. I choose, just depending on where I want this to go, either insert above or insert below. So in this case, I'm going to select insert below. And we find the content block we want to use. So in this case, I'm going to go with this one here. Perfect. Now, to start with, I'm going to pull up the photo of the science director. Just a moment while I pull this up here. And all I do in this case, I have this here. I'm just going to go in just as with before. We click, drag, and drop. And we just need to make some changes here to, there we go. We're just going to resize that a little bit there. And what I'll go in and do is I will add on his introduction. So it'll be just a moment while I pull this up here. We really get to see here the versatility that the page editor is really going to offer us in our schools, which is really cool. So I'm just going to go in and paste his introduction here. And what's cool here is we get to see how the text will start to wrap around the photo, which is really cool. I like to call that the newspaper effect there. So let's say, though, that it's, a little bit later on, we'll say that, we've been working on this page here. We've added more to it. And that we're ready to go in and publish it. Now, just to kind of demonstrate this here. So we've saved that page, but that's not live yet. So I'm going to sign out here really quickly, just so we can see what parents and students will see versus what we'll see when we go to version 2. So I go over here to the About Green Tech High page, and I go to Programs Offered. So we see right now we just have the descriptions of the programs, right? So this is what's live. So I want to go ahead, though, and then publish version 2. So just signing back in here real quickly, I can do this here by going in. I go and toggle over to version 2. And what we want to do is go in and click Publish. Now, what's cool about this, too, though, is just like the emoji button does, when you click on this, if there's any recommendations to be made, it will go in and offer to show this to you. So let's see what this recommendation is. So this also is a prompt to enter in alt text, so definitely something we can do. And this is especially a case where we will definitely want to go in and add on the alt text. The text over here, it's introducing the director, and we have the photo of him here. So this photo is, essentially part of the main content. So what I do is I go in, I right-click, select accessibility just as I did before. In this case, all I really need to type in is Mr. Evans. And I click Apply. And what happens now, everybody, is that we go in, we click Save. And now we click on the Publish button one more time. Just asks us if we want to publish, and we go in and click OK. So now this is the live version. So if we go in, we sign out of here real quickly. We can go in here, everybody, go to About Green Tech High. So we're not signed into the site at all. We go over to where it says Programs Offered, and we can see our brand new content here. Now, with that being said, one thing that's important to note, version 1 has not been deleted. So this will actually stay on the system. So your duplicate pages will stay on, I believe it's for 15 days there. So, we can still go in, we can access that. When we do that, if we see something we need to fix on version 2 and we decide we want to take that version down, we can just go in and republish version 1. So that is definitely something there that is important to go in and to be able to note for that. All right, everyone. So we've had a chance today to really go in and take a look at a lot of great options for this here. It looks like we have another question coming in, which is awesome. Let's see. And this question comes to us from Jason. Thank you, Jason. Jason asks, is there a way to copy or move a page from one section into another? That's a great question. With that, there isn't a way, so you would just want to copy the content over onto the other section for there. But definitely a great question for that there. Thank you, Jason, for sending that in. All right, everyone. So we've had a chance to go in and really see a lot of cool things. One thing that's really important to note as you're going in and you're creating these sections, remember, you can most always go back in and make changes to it. And that holds true for the vast majority of your website. There's really very little that once you add something to it, you can't make changes. Really, the only exception to that's going to be things such as like email lists or the community mail, things that you're actually sending messages and emails out for that. One thing that I want to mention as well is along with having options with the page editor, remember that you can add on other types of pages here. So an example of this here is if we go in, we click on the blue arrow, we go over to this section and we select new page and we can see all these. So a section like this can even have its own email list, which is like a newsletter, which is really cool. We also have the option here, we can have a spotlight feature here. Now in this case, of course, with this page in particular, it doesn't really fit with that, but that's like a specialized version of news that is created specifically for student and staff accomplishments, which is really cool. So definitely a lot of options. And when you are going in, especially with the start of the school year, right around the corner, you have a lot of flexibility of what you're able to do with the page editor, but also the access you can go in and grant your staff. Remember, you can go in and make it so staff members have specific access so they can go in and edit a section like this here as well. All right, everyone. Well, at this time, I'm happy to help with any questions you have. In the meantime, I'd like to go in and show you how you can go in and reach out to Educational Network's tech support team. There's a couple of ways we can do this. One here is we can go in and click on the grid button, and then we head over here to the help desk. What we do next here is we go in and we select create a ticket. And essentially, I apologize, we'll go in and we'll fill out the form here. When you are sending in a ticket, it is best to be as descriptive as possible. That's going to be something there that is going to help our team complete your ticket more quickly for you. I always suggest, as an example, let's say that you would like us to embed a document. Definitely something we can do. So with that, I always suggest going in and including the link to the page you like that to go on, and that helps our team complete your ticket a little bit more quickly for you. Everybody, I want to say thank you to everyone here for joining us for this all-new webinar, Page Editor for Your School's Website. Before we conclude our training session today, there's a couple more things here that I want to make sure to go in and to share with you. And just as I'm mentioning these here, just feel free to go in and continue sending in any questions that you have. One here is that we are going to be sending you some resources from today's presentation. That is going to include some videos as well as a new guide that our team went in and we created with the page editor. So definitely go in and keep an eye out for that. Also with that as well, we did record today's presentation, so I'm looking forward to being able to go in and to send that to you. I do plan on having that ready to go. My goal is by the end of the day tomorrow, we will have that on the website and ready to go in and be able to share with you, not on the website, our company YouTube channel. Everyone, as I always like to say, keep inspiring those future generations. Remember, we also have Page Editor for Teachers. That's taking place on on Thursday. So I'm getting the days of the week mixed up here a little bit. We hope to see you there. We still have a lot of spots open for that one there. Everyone, keep inspiring those future generations. And I look forward to seeing you all again really soon. Take care, everybody.